everybody.
Hey everyone.
Happy Wednesday.
New comic book day.
Yeah. Welcome back to another Indie Comics Talk. And tonight, our guest is the writer of Fixing the Hair there. Live on camera. Writer of Terminal Punks from Mad Cave Studios, Long Lost from Scout Comics, Witchblood from Vault Comics, Good Luck from Boom Studios, and a lot of other things, but now a graphic novel coming from Vault Comics called Bonding. Welcome in, Matthew.
Hey, how's it going? Sorry my video is so washed out.
Oh, you're good.
Thank you guys for having me back again. This is
absolutely
really nice.
We always love chatting with you.
Yeah. The production quality. I mean, it wasn't bad when I first was here, but it's improved substantially. So
we're trying
stuff and things.
Little improvements here and there. Just got some additions to my audio quality here.
You got a new supervisor there on the microphone.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
We're changing the game.
But yeah, thank you for coming back. I'm really excited about this one that you've got releasing soon. It's February 1st, the release date, right?
Yeah. As far as I know, it should be out in bookstores everywhere February 1st. So
hell yeah.
Awesome.
I haven't heard anything differently. So
I have not heard any differently, but I can always check on the internet tomorrow.
Yeah, I know Diamond has delays all the time and paper shortages, and I know
for sure. And well, the nice thing too is that this is in the book market, so it's a little the Diamond. Yeah. We're not affected too much by Diamond's whatever they do with what they got.
Well, so that's nice. This type of release, like the graphic novel releases, I know like if the shops get it through like Simon & Schuster or those type of publishers, they may get it earlier than Diamond sometimes.
Yeah, they usually do actually.
50-50.
So, yeah, that's super nice.
So like maybe over at like your local bookshop, maybe even before
absolutely
shop if they
local
don't.
Bookshop if you requested it. I I'm a small time writer. We're doing indie books, so unless you've requested it from your local bookshop, I mean, hopefully they have it. That would be absolutely awesome. And if they do, and you're on Twitter, I'd love to hear the bookshops that did decide to order.
Share your books that you picked up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Instagram.
But you can get it at Barnes and Noble and maybe whatever major bookstores are still in existence.
Yeah. So for those that haven't heard about Bonding, let's hear the pitch of what is Bonding.
Yeah. Bonding is it's a pretty untraditional book. Just to put that out there first, it's a sci-fi romance told in two parts. It follows two characters, Marcus and Laura, as they fall in love in this world that has basically been. Everyone has to wear a alien parasitic slug on their chest that drinks their plasma, and if they don't, they die. And the story is about these two characters kind of navigating this new normal and falling in love and building a relationship and going from there. The book is, like I said, in two parts, so that's kind of the first part, and the second part you get into. I don't think you can really spoil a book like this, but you get into their son, Ira, who also is trying to reconcile with the new normal as he tries to figure out how to meet his long-distance girlfriend. So that's Bonding. It's a alien sci-fi horror romance with some road trip stuff, and I don't know. It's all over the place. I wrote it in.
It's all over the place in a good way.
Yeah,
thank you.
I think it appeals to a broad audience in that regard,
or it'll appeal to nobody.
That's fair. But I think everybody that's looking for a little bit of something and not a full dive into sci-fi, a full dive into horror, a full story, it's gonna love a little bit of each of that.
I hope so. I think it was created in a weird stage of my life. It was the second thing I'd ever written. So this is chronologically, I wrote this right after Long Lost back in like 2018, 2019. This was before Witchblood, before Good Luck, before even Terminal Punks.
Okay.
And just because of the way that COVID happened and everything kind of messed with production schedules, it's coming out now in 2023. But it's really strange. It's been so distant from what I've been doing for so long that to see it come out and to see people read it has been really strange. There's a little bit of anxiety because it's it's work that I did, like I said, almost 4 years ago, almost.
Yeah.
Maybe going on 5 years.
Did you do any re-editing after like you finished it the first time?
Very
or
little.
Is it just what you did?
Yeah, very little. I honestly, I'll tell the story of kind of how it came to be. I was driving home from work one day. This is when I had a day job. And I just had this idea for this story about these people that live in this world with alien slugs. And I got home immediately and I wrote the first 22 pages. I didn't know what it was going to be. I didn't know who I was going to pitch it to. I didn't have an artist lined. Nothing was set up. I just wrote the first 22 pages. And those are nothing has changed from those 22 pages. Adrian didn't edit them. He edited them, but nothing really has changed about them. So those first 22 pages that is what I wrote when I first got home, which is really cool. And then from there, the book went through so many different iterations after it got to Vault, whether it was going to be a series, whether it was going to be a graphic novel, what age group it was originally supposed to be. It was supposed to be a young adult thing or a middle grade thing. And for Vault's other imprint, Wonderbound. And then it's now on Vault's main imprint, and it's for adults. You both have read it, so you can probably tell it's not for kids.
I can see maybe some teenagers would
sure,
especially that second part of the story focused more on their child. I think definitely broadly appeal to them.
And that was I tried to tap into like what I really loved when I was that age, which was like Donnie Darko and Mulholland Drive and some other stuff. Sorry, I'm blurring out. It's real weird.
That's okay. You got like an autofocus going on.
I do. I don't know why it's doing that, but anyway,
that's okay.
My face isn't that important to this. But no, not a lot changed honestly with the content. It really came down to what Vault was like looking for and what the audience was. When I originally started to write it, we thought it was going to be middle grade, like I said, but that changed. So there was some editing there and like adding cuss words and adding in some blood and stuff just to make it more
a little more
adult oriented.
Yeah, you're allowed to go a little bit further. Yeah,
but like the actual content of the book is like didn't change. It's the book deals with suicide and mental health stuff and relationships, and that kind of transcends age groups for the most part. You don't want to write about that stuff for like a fifth grader or something, but teenagers and like adults, I think we all kind of live in that space and consume art that talks about those things. So for the most part, it has stayed consistent since I finished writing it in the beginning of 2019. So
So this is, I think, a good transition here was who else is a part of the team here that helped put this together?
So bonding is myself. I'm the writer and co-creator. Emily Pearson of The Wilds and The Vein. And I'm trying to think of Snap Flash Hustle was another one of books. So Emily Pearson, I think she is moved away from consistently doing interior comics, so this might be the last thing she does for a while. As far as she's working in video games now, video game development. But Emily Pearson is the artist, the interior artist. She does all the inks and the pencils, all the covers. Kay Davis is the colorist. She is an incredible artist as well. She's done the Tales of the Tarot for Liminal 11 and working on some other stuff too. I'm really excited to see more of what they do. And then the letters are by Justin Birch of Ann World, and it's through Vault Comics, like we've talked about. So this is, I think, their second straight up graphic novel that they've ever put out. So I'm very, I'm very, very honored to be like in the front line of that. I think the first graphic novel they put out was a Brian Sanderson graphic.
Yeah,
novel.
the Brandon Sam. I'm looking at it, dark one.
Yeah. I feel real special getting to follow that. So
right, it's funny. So I backed his giant Kickstarter thing last year, and so I'm wearing the shirt from the first box right now, and I just finished listening to the audiobook of the first book today. So it was just like, that's great timing.
Yeah, no, for absolutely. And yeah, it's exciting. I feel, you know, kind of there's a little apprehension being at the, you know, releasing such a weird book to you know,
it is very unique.
Yeah, it is. And you know, I think a lot of people go into Vault expecting kind of elevated genre stories, and I think this is more on the experimental side of what people would be traditionally getting into as far as books. You know, like not everything is spelled out. It's told in kind of
it took me a few pages, and I was like, "Oh, this is what's going on." Okay.
Yeah. I really
the parameters of the world. You explore them as you read.
Yeah. I really love letting the audience and the readers kind of arrive with the book. If that, like, I don't like. I mean, it's not like I don't like exposition. I think exposition, you know, whatever to that. But in this story, it really felt important to not over-explain and to let things just be, because it's not so much about the history of the world and what has happened. It's so much more about the characters and what they're going through and how they're building their interpersonal relationships with each other. And you learn about the world through how they interact with it. So, you know, when things aren't so clear cut, it's because, you know, the characters haven't either gotten to that moment in the story, or maybe it's something that just never gets explained. And I like when things do that. I like when things are a little open-ended and mysterious and leaves questions that, you know, sometimes I don't even know the answers to, which is super fun.
Well, and I feel like it'll be the type of story that, like, you read it again, and you're always picking up something different.
Yeah, I hope so.
Oh, yeah. I was doing, because I originally read this when we were going to talk about it before, and I know things got pushed back. So I was doing a reread, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is, I don't remember this part of it. And then, like, honestly, the last, like, page or two, that, like, ending, I still got goosebumps reading it.
Oh,
like,
thank you.
The text going through that ending, I was like, yep, no, it still hits good.
That's exactly what I'm going for, is to give people goosebumps and to make people feel all of the feelings that they can feel.
You take us through a pretty.
You do make us feel things when you write in a good way.
Yeah, it's there's lots of happy moments. There's lots of very sad, depressing moments, but
I feel like you write real people.
Yeah,
thank you.
Like, it's not always just one note. Like, it's always gonna work out.
Yeah.
Happy ending.
I you know, Marcus and Laura and Ira, they're definitely aspects of myself and how I feel and how I engage with the world and how I see other people engage with the world too. So I try to be honest and authentic with the characters that I write and make. And, you know, sometimes they're goofy and funny and not so serious. And, you know, like Yona and Witchblood or something. And sometimes they require more emotional depth, or the story needs, you know, something more than a trope. And I think, you know, Marcus and Laura are really hard to box into tropes or kind of who they are. They're bad people. They're good people. They make shitty decisions. They make good decisions. Same with Ira. I think Ira is like he's such a fascinating character because for the most part, he's not a good kid. He's a shitty kid that makes bad decisions for bad reasons. And he's kind of whiny and selfish, and
He's
he doesn't
kind of not the best.
Yeah. And, but at the same time, it's like, I think a lot of people and, hopefully a lot of people that read this identify with, that's maybe some aspect of themselves when they were growing up. I was incredibly selfish when I was a teenager. And I think that a lot of people don't grow into their empathy until they, get past that stage in their life. So
it takes a lot of some people having something happen to them and they're like, oh.
Yeah, and that's kind of Ira's journey too, is that realization that like horrible things have happened to him, and the selfish decisions that he's made were made, in out of trauma and out of trying to cope with something that's really traumatic that happened to him. And it's always interesting to see characters reflect and have that reflection in a story. I think that's one of the things bonding does that I'm really proud of, and how, especially that last chunk. I really love that last half of bonding. Not to say the first half isn't good. It's good in its own way, but the second half is a very unique, special thing. I'm really proud of it.
And the second half doesn't exist without the first half kind of building to that and creating the importance of that later.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you, I guess, one, congratulations on the birth of your child.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
I was just reading through the Substack post earlier.
Yeah, thank you. Kid is out into the world, doing well. My wife's watching him right now, and it's crazy. I really cannot emphasize how wild the last month and a half has been.
So far, so good.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It was a little bit of a rough start there in the first couple days, but we made it out of it, and he's healthy now, and everything's doing it. Yeah, everything's going great.
You said he's about a month and a half old?
Yeah.
Sweet baby.
So I say with that, do you take anything from learning lessons from your characters raising their child into the real world of parenting now?
That's a great question. And I think, since becoming a father, a dad, still a weird word for me to say about myself, since I have a very strange relationship with my own dad. I think that, I think so. I think bonding, there is an aspect to bonding that I can see Marcus and Laura being bad parents. I can see things that they do in the story that I would never do as a parent.
Yeah.
And I think that, in hindsight, had I been a parent and when I was writing this book, maybe these things would be different about how they navigate certain aspects, especially in the second part of the book. But at the same time, it's so interesting. I think that the journey that the family goes on in the second part of bonding is a journey that is necessary for them to become a better familial unit. And one of the things that I think is kind of cool about the book is you don't know, and it never goes into what their life was like in that 15-year, 16-year span where, Ira was born to Ira in high school. You just kind of jump to Ira in high school.
What happened there that led to who Ira is,
the distance and the frustration, and it's like that's I don't have the answers to that, and I really like when a book kind of leaves that open-ended, because the reader can kind of fill in their own personal experiences and make assumptions and see themselves in these characters, hopefully.
Oh yeah.
So if you have a similar relationship with your parents, you can kind of fill in the backstory as to what happened or how things panned out.
Yeah.
But no, as a dad, if I was for any reason distant with my son, or there's, I'd be heartbroken. I would, I would never want anything like that to happen in the first place, and then to not be there emotionally and to help, guide or shepherd my kid through hard times. I think that's the job of the parent, and I think that's one of the things that, again, had I been a parent when I was writing this,
we have a whole different story.
Things might be
the beginning of that, the second part would maybe be a little bit different. Hey, thanks, Joe. I know Joe.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, man. Yeah, it's been a blast so far. It's been exhausting, but it's been a blast, and it's crazy they don't make you do any paperwork to have a kid. You just have one.
Not yet.
Yeah,
Son.
Yeah, you just like I had to fill out more stuff to adopt my dog than to you just
that's
get
true.
You just have a kid. And
I mean, I don't know. It's pretty obvious where it came from.
Yeah.
At least for one of you.
But no, yeah, it's fun. It's wild. It's weird.
It's good.
It's maybe not for everybody, but for the people that it's for, it's definitely a good time, I think. I'm excited when he gets to start talking and saying stuff and having opinions.
Personality. It's really fun to see their personalities develop.
Cannot wait to see what this kid.
My friend's kid is a year and some months and is babbling around and has a personality and some sass to her, and you're like, oh my god,
I know. I can't wait for that. That's gonna be so fun.
You have opinions.
I know, and where do they come from?
Most of them are no. Even if they want it, it's no.
It's the first word to learn.
Oh. Yeah, it's one syllable. So easy. They hear it enough all day.
So with bonding, I think I saw it's going to be a hardcover and softcover, right?
Yeah.
Which for those that really like that type of display on their bookshelf, I love the hardcover. I think that's.
I haven't gotten my comp copies yet, which I'm sure Adrian is not thrilled with me saying that. But when I do, I'm very excited to get the hardcover. This will be my first hardcover as a writer, so it's really exciting. I don't know, it's real weird.
I
like the feel of a hardcover. It adds something to the reading experience sometimes. Yeah.
It's always satisfying.
And
I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna have a dust jacket or if it's just the full hardcover. I don't know the details, but
I had nothing to do with this.
Yeah. I just know that it is gonna have a hardcover and a soft back.
Do you know, is it going to be the same artwork, dust jacket or not, on for the hardcover and the soft cover?
I would imagine, yeah.
Usually it is.
If they switch it up, I haven't seen anything that they've switched it up for. So
yeah, I think that's how it was advertised, at least. So hopefully, and it looks like I'm looking at the one I have for Dark One, and it doesn't look like it has a dust jacket.
Okay, it's
I don't know if it will follow the same format or not.
I'm trying to think if I have.
I imagine it'll probably be in the same
soft covers
vein of the Dark One.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. So now you join. I think Lisa had a hardcover recently. I guess that wasn't super recently.
It was 2021.
Time is weird.
Recently.
Yeah. I have a kid, bro.
I'm sure your last year or so has just disappeared and.
It's
where'd it go?
It's ridiculous.
Well, I was just thinking about it. I'm like, when were you last on here? And that was 2021.
Was it?
Yeah.
It was May.
I think it was
for Witchblood.
Yeah, because it was It was when I
Witchblood
went
being released. Yeah,
when I went to that con and didn't know what time zones were.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
That's right.
Had that
So,
moment.
And
yeah,
Lisa had a Squad released, I think, a little bit later, like October 2021.
Yeah.
Squad, yeah.
We have that.
I
one
just
on
saw
our
that
shelf.
on my shelf when I was looking for. I was putting something else away that was from Harper's Alley publisher, and it was putting it right in the same spot. I was like, oh yeah, hey, that's awesome. So now two hardcovers in the family.
I know. Hopefully more to
Oh,
come.
yeah.
I've got some books on the way this year that I'm gonna try and get hardcover.
Nice.
So
I saw you said I think 4 books you got coming this year.
Yeah, I think so. Let me.
If all goes well.
Yeah, if all goes well, maybe 5. Honestly, so I've got one with Liana Kangas.
Okay.
Love. We're having her
announced
soon.
yet.
We're gonna have her on the channel February.
You made the appointment. I just said I'd show up for it.
It's in my email.
well, shit. If our thing's announced, let me know. I'll pop on and say hi because I would love to talk about it.
We'll have Sarah Gailey and Liana will be on.
Oh, to talk about their book. Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah.
I highly recommend.
But if you want to,
it.
if the announcement's out there and you want to pop in for a few
Let's-
minutes,
I will not.
crash the party. I'm sure
I don't
they
wanna
will.
Crash the comments and be like,
Yeah, I'll hop in the comments and say hi. I'm not gonna rain on. I'm not gonna.
yeah, we're having them on for
back
a New Year's
anyone's
Eve.
jar. So I've got a book coming out with Liana. Maybe this. I think this year that's definitely coming out. I've got
February
a book
22nd. I'll be on.
I've got a book with Sam Beck that is hopefully coming out this year. Sam Beck, incredible artist. They've done Verse for Vault. They've done a few other things. They've done a book for Dark Horse with why am I blanking on their name? Ben Kahn.
Oh, Ben.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sam is incredible. I'm incredibly excited for that book. That has also not been announced. I've got a thing that has been announced, Golgotha Motor Mountain, through IDW. That's going to be a series. Co-writing that with Lonnie Nadler, and of so many things.
I'll say that name sounds very familiar.
Undone by Blood, Black Stars Above.
Oh, yeah.
I think he did the Yondu Marvel series, a short mini series with Zach Thompson. Frequent co-writer with Zach Thompson.
Okay.
We've got that coming out, I think, later this year. I think the dates have been shuffled around. Oh, excuse me. And then I might have some other stuff coming out with IDW as well.
Very exciting.
So, I'm a working comic book writer. It's tough. I would not recommend it without a day job. It's very hard, and it doesn't pay as great as it sounds.
But it sounds like you just keep popping new ideas out of your head, and
I literally have to. If I don't, my child will starve. So it's
pretty good motivation.
Incredibly important that I'm shitting ideas out as fast as I can.
Well, we'll have to have you and Liana on and talk about your book when it's.
Yes, I would love that. I love Liana.
We won't get in any
absolute blast.
Circumstantial trouble.
I'm also working on some stuff right now that is probably like 2024, 2025 release stuff. So
that's still exciting.
Yeah. It's so weird to be doing the PR rounds for bonding. For like I said, I finished writing this
so long ago.
Yeah, it was announced, I think, in 2018, so long ago. And then I feel like the people that have been waiting for this book have they could have gone completely through high school. And, high school feels like such a long period of someone's life.
Yeah, 4 years.
And you could be like a freshman, and you bonding sounds cool. And then you could be a senior graduating, and be like, I can't wait for this book to come out finally. So
eventually, maybe.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's wild. And
Also, what a great gift to those seniors.
How
does it feel like? And I saw this in the Substack post, but to have that like prophetic thing of a strange new world and people figuring out how to deal with different circumstances.
Yeah, COVID. So bonding has some spooky parallels to COVID. I wrote it. I finished it before COVID was even a word for people. Yeah. I mean, I think it was a word already, but
it was a word, but
COVID-19 specifically was not a thing.
Yeah.
So bonding, it's strange. I think it says something about the what is the evergreen, the timelessness of potentially this book.
Okay.
I think there's something there about, I think people and our Western American society, we're always kind of dealing with a new normal, whether that's, COVID-19 and having to adjust to social distancing or wearing masks or kind of being ever presently aware of this thing that could hurt you in a really serious way, and the second part of the book too kind of deals with just mass violence. There's some parallels to gun violence, not direct parallels, but I think it's a pretty easy logic jump to make when you see what happens at the beginning of the second part. And it's just one of those things where the story needed these things for it to feel fleshed out and real to me and authentic. And it's just bizarre. I think there's a word for it. It's like our artistic prescience or something like that, where like multiple weird occurrences happen based around
like The Simpsons.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Simpsons aren't actually, they're not Nostradamus, but just the.
I've never seen him and Nostradamus in the same room.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think people that read Bonding are gonna pick up very, very clearly some of the parallels, especially having to wear slugs all day long. It seems like it seems like a pretty clear thing to. Not necessarily
wear my slug.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's
accessories for your slug.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
which I loved that little bit.
Thank you.
That was great. I loved that little.
It's weird. Not the first time that's happened either. Terminal Punks had the whole story was about being quarantined because of a viral contagious thing, and that happened like. I think Terminal Punks was releasing.
You just had this like looming sense of like something is coming for me.
I mean, that's called anxiety. That's just called general anxiety.
Yeah, but here's the specific to a like bacterial threat.
So in general, you're just looking out for the viruses coming to get you.
Whatever it is, I've got my ear to the railroad tracks, and
like,
I'll write a story about whatever is going to happen. Unfortunately, it might come true.
So what you're saying is,
Witchblood is a
vampires are coming.
Yo, can I be her, please?
We need this future.
Dibs. Actually, I want to be the plant girl. She seems chill.
She's super chill.
Her life seems way less intense.
I named Plant Girl after Liana. A lot of the witches in Witchblood got names from artists that I've worked with.
Okay.
The Eye Witch, their name is Yoshi, after Yoshi, who did the variant covers, and
who has my favorite tarot deck that I use. So
I have the whole set of connecting covers still.
Oh, they're so beautiful
in my hallway, like
they're so beautiful,
all set up.
That's so sick, by the way. You got to take a picture and post that. I would love to see them all framed up like that.
I think when I did that, I posted it, but it's been like
do it again.
A year and a half.
I mean,
the internet needs to see it again. Yeah,
absolutely. Stella Dia, who did who I I haven't worked with personally, but I've met, and they're very wonderful people. They did the colors on Lisa and Vita's Submerged. They're a witch in the book. I forget which one. The Crystal Witch, I think, is that one. But
the one that tragically perishes.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
So, yeah, no, it's a weird little thing. I don't know why I brought that up, but yeah, witches and Witchblood are named after a lot of the artists and people that I've worked with.
Okay, that's awesome. I think
if there's anyone else.
Yeah,
I tried to get Texas Red named after Steens, but she was like, I'm weird.
Listen, in your heart, that's who she's named after.
Yeah, I think we hadn't met some of the witches at the time that we had talked. So it was still early in the series, I think.
Yeah, it was like issue 4 or 5.
I think we talked at like 2 or 3.
Yeah,
and then it was already out a couple issues.
We got 10 issues of that, and I know you have more in your head.
I do. I would love.
Is Vault?
Hopefully, I mean, hopefully, it's always a maybe with certain things like this, especially indie books. It really depends on how sales are doing. We have a call with them next week, so I'll be finding out more. Hopefully they want more. If they don't, it's one of those things where I'm happy with the story that we got to tell, and I think it ends on a fun kind of cliffhanger note. There's always the potential for more.
Oh yeah.
And with the way that creator-owned comics work is, 5-10 years from now, something happens, it gets made into a TV show, or it gets popular again, and then all of a sudden people want more of it. So who knows? I'm always hopeful. That's
fingers crossed.
That's kind of how you have to be in this industry, is just optimistic and hopeful that the books will find the people that want to read them.
And you've already got ideas ready to go for more. So if it
I do.
You're ready to go. You got half the work done.
I would love to write about. I mean, the story's set up for Witchblood to kind of go into the Witchblood video game would be sick. And that's my brother. Hey, bro.
I was like, I wonder this last name.
It's like that name sounds familiar.
No, it's just a coincidence that there's just. I actually not know, but I've been collecting a lot of the Matt Ermans that exist in the world. We're friends on Twitter and stuff, and
I love that.
That's awesome.
My goal, it'll never happen, but my goal is to eventually write a book by all of us, and then we can say bye Matthew Ermans.
All of us, every single one.
All of the ones that I've found. There's like 10 of us so far. So one's like a really good runner. Whenever I'm like, my Google search is on, he's always winning like long distance sprints and stuff. So shout out to him.
Good for you.
He's like the I'm very grateful to be the most famous Matt Erman, as far as I can tell. He's up there though. He's like number 2. He's like he places in all these races.
He's the most athletically talented Matthew.
Oh, absolutely. He's if we were to get into a fight, he's definitely the physically superior Matt Erman.
So are we gonna see a story about the multiverse of Matt Ermans that are out there?
Maybe, I don't know. That's a dumb idea, but I'm into it.
I just Googled my name, and apparently I'm the mayor of Stamford, Connecticut.
Hey, congratulations.
I'm like at one point
kind of a big deal.
A me that was a rodeo clown, I think.
That's incredible.
Yeah, that's somewhere awesome. In the Midwest. I'm like, all right.
We love it.
Cool. Not related to Nicholas Sparks.
I am not related to Gene Simmons or Russell Simmons, unfortunately.
There are literally no famous Ermans that have ever appeared in film or cinema or done anything of importance, as far as I can tell. So
maybe we should change that.
I know.
There you go.
But no, I would love to do more Witchblood. Video game. Someone had reached out to do like a tabletop RPG of the world, which I thought was really cool. Nothing ever came of that, but I'm always open to like expanding that stuff. It's such a fun world, and I love like playing around in the sandbox and like creating things for it. But yeah, I have an idea for second arc, second 10-issue book or whatever they would want. Very different. It would it would be a completely different genre, which I'm very excited about. It would be nothing
Same
like
main
the first
character.
Same main character. Yeah, I don't think I can ditch Yona, but
Please don't.
it would not. It would
I'm
not be like a
attached.
road trip.
She's still up on my wall.
It would not be a road trip. That much I'm certain of. It would be something very different.
Should we like Hotel Oblivion this? Just like stick her in a building and make her deal with all of her problems?
I won't say anything else.
That's one of the ideas.
But no, the more fan support that we can get for Witchblood and people tweeting about it and bugging Vault that they want more, the more likely it kind of becomes a thing.
All right, so putting that tweet out there very soon with the
literally harass
covers.
Just harass them. Tweet at Adrian. Tweet at
more.
Paul. Demand.
I'll tag them all. The whole company.
This is like day one of me tweeting at Vault to demand more Witchblood. Just do it every day.
It's a whole Twitter account that's just like, when will we get more Witchblood? Every day.
Day 33 without new Witchblood.
I would love that.
Going on a hunger strike soon until there's more Witchblood news.
It's the Gojo's been trapped in a box countdown.
Yeah, you would definitely die if you went on a hunger strike.
Maybe they'd get concerned though, and they'd be like, "Hey, there's news."
Maybe
they'd be like, "Listen, there's a dinosaur refusing to eat. We need to do something."
They seem like very empathetic people at Vault, so
they're incredible people. I love the Wassel brothers. I love everyone that I've worked with at Vault. They're incredibly wonderful, nice people, and so yeah, fingers crossed that they want more. Maybe Bonding does some extra convincing if it does well in the bookstores and the comic book shops. Bonding's definitely a weird book. There's definitely a smaller audience for a book like this, so I'm not super hopeful that Bonding's going to be convincing them.
There's not a mass audience of people begging for slugs.
I know, it's a big giant books about people with holes and slugs that. It's just
holes that are filled by slugs.
Yeah, it's just not one of those things that there's like a Reddit forum about it or something. It's there's
also like
very
a mini Death Star in this universe as well.
Have been waiting for this book.
I mean, I do like the one comment. She's like, "I saw your slug hole." Like that just seemed like an internet comment. Like
seems like something nobody should ever see.
Absolutely, no, especially in that world too. It was really fun. It was really, really fun getting to write the. Are those? What are those?
Vault from today.
Oh, just your Wednesday poll.
Yeah,
you're on it, man.
Today.
Good job.
I don't remember what I already read.
I'm bad. I shout out to my local comic book store, Laughing Ogre, who haven't seen me in 2 months. So
I think
I have some people that I haven't seen in like
stuff going on.
Months, and they just show up once a year.
Once a year to collect the poll?
We auto charge their books, so they just come grab them all, and they're like, "Right, I'm here for my shit," and you're like, "All right."
That's nice. That's good. I mean, it's nice that they are like shitty about it.
You read digitally.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But yeah. Congrats to Vault for the Barbaric, the new one that came out today. I think.
Oh yeah.
So
Michael Marici, great guy, lovely man. Met him a couple times.
The 2 graphic novels as well.
We'll actually have him on very soon too.
Tell him I said hi. He gave me some very, very good writing advice.
Aww.
Back in when was that?
2018?
It must have been 2018. It was at one of the cons we were at.
Speaking of, are you gonna do any this year? I know you have new baby, so maybe not.
I'm, hopefully. I've got some publishers that have been asking me whether I'm going to be out to conventions, and obviously I'm not going to be out to the ones then the next couple months, like C2E2 and Emerald City. But the ones at the end of the year, like New York City and Thought Bubble. Love Thought Bubble. Thought Bubble was, I went with Lisa a couple years ago.
That?
It's in London.
Yeah.
Yo, I'm going to London in April.
It was in Leeds, and then it got moved to Harrogate.
That's dope. I'm doing London in April for a Star Wars celebration.
It's so fun.
I cannot wait. Give me all the things that I need to do. Send me a list.
Okay, yeah, I definitely will. And I think the at the top of the list would be to get Indian food. There are so many, there are so many good Indian places in London. Some of the most delicious Indian food. They've got, I mean, because of colonialization and some very
large immigrant status. Most are not white people over there. I'm very aware of how out of touch the royal family is.
So like there's a huge population and there's some really good food there. So I would definitely, Indian food is definitely I would say a must, at least for one of the dinners out there. So
like eat out, eat local as much as we can.
If you can find a place to do your like traditional like tea and biscuit like morning breakfast service. It's so fun, it's so silly, and it's and the tea there, it's totally different than like the tea that you get here in the States. It's way better, and they know how to make
like it instead of calling it dirty plant juice.
It's so good.
Dirty plant juice.
And I mean, and it needs to be because their coffee fucking sucks.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, coffee sucks.
R.I.P. me today in Starbucks.
I don't know. I don't remember seeing us. I mean, they obviously got them out there.
Gotta have a Starbucks. That's fine.
When Lisa and I went to Spain for our honeymoon, the coffee was so bad. I was like, why is this? What have they done? And it's on purpose. So like in the Spanish Civil War, they used sugar in the roasting process to keep, or before the roasting process, they preserved the coffee beans with sugar. And so when they roasted the coffee beans, all of their shit burns. And they've just been doing that for like 80 or 90 years. And that's just how Spanish coffee tastes. It tastes like burnt, bad coffee. It tastes like a coffee you would get at like a Jiffy Lube or something. Real thick and molassesy and dark and burnt. Coffee over there is terrible.
So many mistakes.
I do expect the coffee to be absolute shit. I am hoping I can actually like tea, because like I don't like tea. Sweet tea, sure, but I'm from the South, so it's more of a in your blood type of thing.
Hey, Earl Grey tea in the UK is delicious. I would happily have a glass of that if especially with a little bit of cream and some sugar. Very good.
I will make it my mission to try as many teas as I'm comfortable.
Yeah, and you know, if you're a fan of Next Gen, you could just pretend you're Jean-Luc Picard drinking I think he drank Earl Grey tea, so
I feel like they all do. It's the easy one.
It's the one everyone knows about. So with all of these crazy ideas coming out of your head and onto paper for comics, where do you get inspiration for all these things? What do you look to kind of come up with new ideas?
That's a great question. Thank you. I generally find a lot of inspiration in music. I know that's kind of a strange answer, but
no, I love
we've
seen some of it in the comics.
As the music's in the background.
Witchblood was inspired by a lot of really good rockabilly and country music. And
have you been reading
Grimm, the boom book?
Yeah, because the way they use music, so they'll use music in it as like a song's playing in the background, and it often reminds me of the way that you did it in Witchblood.
Oh, I'll have to check that out and see if they're doing it better than I did. But no, yeah, music is a big inspiration. I think one of the things I always do before I pitch a comic, or when I'm pitching a comic, is I kind of curate a playlist. Is kind of a weird word to quality. It's almost like a soundboard of like moods, and like there's ambient stuff, and there's instrumental, and there's songs from all over the place. I absolutely love music. From all genres. So
what would you have in there for bonding?
There is a playlist for bonding. it came right after Long Lost, so that kind of skill that I had cultivated, having pitched, so many comics and having done this, going on like almost 10 or 11 times now. I get better at it. So the bonding playlist is a little rudimentary in what it's trying to do. I don't think it lines up exactly with how the book came out, but it was still there, and I leaned on a lot of music for bonding when I was writing it. Nick Drake and Mazzy Star and Cockatoo Twins. I'll send you guys the playlist. It's okay. It's not my favorite, but it's good.
No, I want to like vibe to it while I'm reading though.
Right? Yeah, I get that. I like that incorporation of music in comics. Like, there's been a couple things that I think it was We Live was the first one where I really saw them like actually put the QR code in.
That's cool.
It was like, listen to this while you read through.
Yeah,
like
play it when you get to this scene.
And I think it was actually like the artist that created the music behind it.
That's sick.
I was like, this is cool. I like feeling
comics are such a visual medium, and I think the more you can play with sensory, the way that comics can guide sensory input, it's interesting. It's a visual medium.
Do you ever wish comic books were textured?
But at the same time, it's the closest parallel to a comic is kind of like animation or a movie, and those things have sound, and I think good comics can help elicit sound and music and have poetry and rhythm that can transcend the static aspect of it. Witchblood, those are shortcuts. Go listen to this song. Listen to this song.
Here's a song that we're literally playing.
Like, please put this on while you watch this fight scene happen.
Exactly. That's fucking easy.
PSA, play this now.
Exactly. That's super easy. I think, and
I don't hate that.
No, and it's not bad by any means. It's super fun when it happens. I think one of the things that I've been trying to do in some of the books that are unannounced, that are upcoming, really try to play with how can a comic and how can the written word become music in a kind of ephemeral sense, that you can read it and you can see what's happening on the pages, and then just through the act there is a rhythm, and then there is a sense of movement and sound. That's really hard to do, and
like hitting the right beats in the comic to
the comic itself has a music to it. I'm super blurred out. Okay, there we go. I looked like Skinamarink for a second. I don't know if you've seen that movie. It was super creepy. But there are some writers that absolutely know how to do that. Super tuned in to the way words work, and I think it's a skill that a lot of poets have when they're writing. Being able to write very specific sets of words to elicit a music.
It's a iambic pentameter, it's got the given rhythm to it, but it's not necessarily that.
Exactly. Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
It's not quite that, but we all know that shit from English class in high school. We all remember clapping along.
Oh gosh, yeah. It's been a while, but
worst way to teach poetry.
It sucks when you take theater classes and it comes back in college and you're like, shit. I remember this.
I remember this class and the trauma it put on me.
I remember clapping my hands in English.
but yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see it release. Bonding coming up. I think we do get some of that in there with feeling how things are going through it. I mean, it's 202 pages of.
And the parts that you split it up into, I think the cuts that you've done, I haven't finished it yet, but the cuts that you've done so far, I like the way you pace it out and the way it like just kind of ends on some notes, and then the others you're like, wait a minute, that's it.
Yeah, no, I it's so funny how it all worked out. You know, one of the states that this book was in was it was not originally. I think it was, we talked about releasing it as a monthly. So you know, you can read it like that. You can read it in a serialized fashion. I think each chapter is roughly about 22 pages. Whenever I do like a chapter panel or whatever.
Yeah.
Some are shorter,
every
some are longer.
own chapter has, I feel like it's got its own
beat,
like speed, I guess, like setting to you're reading everything at its own different speed and rate and everything as it goes through.
Not a lot of people like that. I've read some reviews. People aren't.
I don't want to just tear through a book. Like sometimes you want those heavier moments to take a little bit longer than the same amount of time as like a fun little quirky panel.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. I think about that a lot. I think that's one of the unique things about writing comics is that you can really, really adjust the speed at which people read your book based on how you write it, based on where you put like your page flips, based on where you put your panel breaks, based on
you
what
go all the way across versus
There's so many different things you can do to adjust how people experience this physical medium, which is one of my favorite parts about writing comics is the where you can experiment in the fixed aspect of the panels and the page flips and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, I think with hitting all the different genres that you're pulling into this, you kind of have to have different paced pieces for us.
Yeah.
If you're pulling into like you've got the definitely like a horror aspect going on and a whole part of it that should not have the same pacing as the intro piece, getting to know the characters.
The intro is like this fun little date thing, and then the second chapter is like this weird stalker horror story, and then like the third chapter kind of goes into this Criterion-esque indie thing about the man's struggle with death anxiety, and then you have the whole second part which starts incredibly intense, and then it's a road trip story for most of that, and then it becomes something else entirely. So the story is broken up, and it almost feels like genres as it kind of goes back and forth between kind of what the characters are experiencing. And the more I think about, and I'm glad you guys brought this up, because it's like life kind of exists in that kind of space.
Yeah.
Like life isn't, we all don't, it's not
some
like
days are horror, some days are the best days.
Exactly. It's like your life is broken up into days and the segments and the moments, and sometimes they're horrifying, and sometimes they're romantic, and sometimes they're funny.
Yeah.
And that's how life is. It's like life is not a genre story. You can't qualify all the things that happen in someone's life as tropes in a horror story. So many different things happen, and so many different things pull you out of it and bring you back, and contextualize things and decontextualize other things. And Bonding tries to do a lot of that. Whether it's successful is up to whoever's reading it, but I think we really swung for the fences. I think Emily's art and Kay's colors do so much work.
Colors are phenomenal for it. I love a good bold color palette too.
Oh God, Kay did such an incredible job. And Kay, Kay's not just a colorist either. Kay is an incredible illustrator, incredible comic artist, and it's one of those things where I was incredibly excited to work with Kay on this, and I'm still waiting for the right story or the right pitch to come along for us to work together on a book together where they're the interior artist and they're the main artist. making all of the directorial decisions that interior artist makes. But
I can imagine Kay doing some phenomenal like club scenes.
Oh God. Yeah. Well, I want to work with them so bad, and they're so good, and they deserve so many more eyes on their work too. I think they're incredible. They're a close friend of mine too. They live not too far from where we live, so we see them very frequently, and yeah, I love them to death.
I just want to put it back up there so people can see the cover, and I mean that's I think a good showcase of some of the artwork too, cover. Just with the colors, and I like that the back matter also included kind of process for one, this cover, and two, the logo and everything.
That was nice Tim did the cover or the logo, Tim Daniel, and great. I just love the whole design process that Vault puts into their books. They really make everything feel special, and I'm excited. Like I said, I'm excited to get my copy. Can't wait to see what it looks like in person.
Yeah, which I mean, it's usually what, like the week before or so.
I feel like
I often see Vault creators getting stuff around that. Maybe
I would imagine. I mean, I would expect it to arrive this week or next week. Yeah. And if it doesn't, I'm going to be sending some emails.
Then that means it got delayed somewhere.
No, we fight.
But I don't want to keep you too late tonight. I know Lisa's probably like,
baby,
come help.
Get back to.
But thank you again for coming on and talking about Bonding. We're excited for the release.
Absolutely. Thank you both so much for the support, and over the last couple of years. It really means the world to me, and I'm very lucky to get to do this for a living. I don't know how long it's gonna go. I comic writers and comic creators, they can be in the industry for a long time, and they can sometimes fizzle out and start to do other things. So I'm incredibly grateful for everyone that's out there reading my work and supporting me, and I hope to, at least for the next few years. Yeah, I hope for at least the next few years I can deliver some really great, unique books, and I've got some coming up, this included, and some of the ones that are unannounced that I hope really excite people and make them see things differently or in a new light. So thank you again. I really appreciate it, and
thank you.
Grateful. Absolutely, you're always
thanks for
always
making stuff worth reading.
Thank you.
Where can people follow you and see what sort of stuff you got coming up?
Who can they tag when they harass Vault Comics?
Yeah.
you can follow me on Twitter at Matthew Erman. There I have a Substack that's kind of new. You can subscribe to that. I'm posting and sending out emails sporadically on that. Those are the main two. I have a website. It's just MatthewErman.com if you need to contact me urgently for some reason. But other than that, I'm out there, and I'm happy to chat and send free comics to anyone that's interested in reading some work.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Well, thanks everyone who's been watching as well. Appreciate it. Go check out Bonding on February 1st in at least bookstores, maybe comic shops if Diamond does everything. But harass your shops, let them know you want to pick this up, and make sure they get it in.
Hardcover, get the hardcover. I want to see those. I want to see people posting their hardcovers on the internet.
And it's only like, I think, $5 difference.
It's so much better. It's so much better of a deal too.
I love a hardcover book. We already had that conversation.
So worth it. But yeah. Good night, everybody. Thanks again.
Thank you so much. Take care, everybody.